What is vibrational theory and analysis? What is the theory of aero-elasticity? Why vibration? Why study vibrational theory and aero-elasticity? Where is vibrational theory and aero-elasticity used? What is mean by aero-elasticity? Why do we exactly need to study vibrational theory? What is exactly theory of vibrations? By the way, if you guys also have the same questions, guys, and you are basically come to the right place. Hello, guys. Myself, Master Chintamani, your aspiring gynecologist and your relationship counselor, and your aerospace engineer. And welcome back to my channel, guys, of infographics, and which is where I provide you with the free knowledge and free information, guys, about the trends and tricks, guys, in the engineering world. So, guys, let's deal with our today's topic. So, guys, today, what we're going to talk about, guys, seems to be the vibrational theory and aero-elasticity. Now, by the way, guys, before beginning to it, guys, if you have still not subscribed to our channel, or if you still, have not clicked on the bell icon, in order to receive those updates, or, if you still, have not watched the predecessor videos, guys, then this video is really difficult for you to understand, because this basically has a lot of comprehensive insights, guys, which I basically, give to you. So, guys, basically, you'll find a link below, guys, for our all the previous videos, guys, of the finite element and analysis, and even about the lab-grown meat, even about tissue engineering, regenerative medicine, and even about vibrational theory and aero-elasticity. Okay, in order to deal with vibrational theory and aero-elasticity, guys, what I basically got to tell you, guys, is that vibrational theory and aero-elasticity, guys, has got basically multiple subclassifications, guys, or rather some multiple domains, or rather theoretically, we gotta study the theoretical aspects, guys, of the vibrational theory and aero-elasticity, guys, and over there we arrive at some multiple definitions, or rather multiple approaches, guys, when it comes about studying of the time, when it comes about studying about a period, when it comes about studying of the frequency, when it comes about knowing as to what is the degrees of freedom, when it comes about knowing as to what is the amplitude, and even when it comes about knowing what is the time period. So, guys, these are basically some of the fundamental aspects, guys, fundamental aspects, or rather some fundamental approaches, or rather some of the precursors, which you basically gotta know, guys, before basically touching that so-called topic of vibration theory and aero-elasticity. Because, guys, trust me, that seems to be absolutely elephantine. So, guys, let me provide you with these insiders. So, guys, what amplitude means is, guys, that's amplitude, guys, basically means is, guys, that it's the displacement of a so-called particle, guys, from the mean position, guys, to the highest position. So, guys, while we basically deal with them so-called with the displacement of a so-called particle, guys, from the from the lower wave to the upper wavefront, guys, maybe the crests and troughs, guys, then it's basically defined as the amplitude. And if you gotta remember, guys, we used to define those things by nodes and antinodes. So this is node, this is an antinode. This is once again a node, this is an antinode. This is a node, this is an antinode. This is a crest, this is a trough. The upper portion, guys, the upper elevated portion, guys, is basically known as the crest, and the lower elevated portion, lower portion, guys, which is basically sink into the ground, guys, is known as a trough. So, guys, while you gotta study as to while you gotta know, or rather calculate as to what is the amplitude, guys. Now, amplitude, guys, is simply the distance, guys, but from the distance, guys, while we gotta calculate and calculate the motion of an atom, guys, and multiple energy levels, guys, as we studied in nuclear physics, guys, and those are various series, guys, such as the P-Fund series, even the Layman series, even when it came about the multiple approaches, guys, it was long back. Guys, those were basically the energy levels of the atom, energy levels of the atom. So, guys, while we used to study it, guys, we in fact, had to look up to calculation of the amplitude. Now, guys, what frequency means is, guys, frequency is basically the degree of it's basically known to be as and degree, which basically, determines, guys, as to what is the degree of, how frequently and so-called object, guys, is moving up and down, or rather vibrating, guys, and which is basically essential to know in vibrational theory and aero-elasticity. So, guys, what frequency means is, guys, as to what is the time interval, guys, between the node and the antinode, or rather between the crest and the trough, guys. So, guys, this so-called time latency, guys, between this so-called node and antinode, or rather the crest and the trough, guys, the so-called time interval is basically defined as the frequency. So, guys, the distance, or rather the time gap, or rather the time sequence, guys, between these two events, guys, when they take place, guys, is basically known to be as the intervals. And, guys, what is known as the degrees of freedom is, guys, that basically degrees of freedom is defined as the degree, with which and so-called object, guys, can freely rotate in any direction, guys. Like, for example, when it comes about mechanical gears and stuff, mechanical gears, the aid assistance, guys, of the aid assistance of the so-called conceptualization of degrees of freedom, what it helps us to know is, guys, as to how freely, can an object basically rotate, or which are going to be the phases, which it can explore, guys. Maybe up, down, right, left, forward, behind, guys. Those were some of the sides, guys, which we all know about. And, guys, while we talk about degrees of freedom, guys, and what it actually means is, guys, the ability with which and so-called particle, or rather an element, guys, can move with convenience, or rather an ease, or rather what is the ability, or rather the capability for that particle to move, that is in fact remarked by the degrees of freedom. And, guys, what is time is, guys, what is the time taken from that for that particle, guys, to displace itself, guys, from the initial mean position, guys, to the upper position. So initial mean position to the final position. So, guys, the final position is basically always at the crest, and the initial mean position is always at the trough. And basically, guys, while we got to study the equilibrium line, guys, happens to be in between, guys, and which basically has got those waves like the solar system, guys, and which basically are known to be precise, guys, by the elevator cone, guys, as the crest, by the so-called depression, which it has, guys, downwards, is known as a trough. And, guys, and another mathematical terminology, which you basically use is even the nodes and the antinodes, guys, like lambda, 2 lambda, 4 lambda, 6 lambda. So, guys, these were the nodes and antinodes. And, guys, while we got to study simple harmonic motion, guys, which is basically a precursor, guys, to learn, guys, before, in fact, studying vibrational theory and analysis, guys, we basically study a lot, guys, in a greater detail, guys, about the waves, guys, or rather about the wave motion, which we studied back. So, vibrational theory and analysis, guys, or rather vibrational theory and aero-elasticity, guys, is basically briefed down, or rather, downloaded. Is basically divided, guys, into all these subdomains, guys, such as guys. These are not the subclassifications, guys. These are some of the definitions, which you gotta know, guys. Which you gotta know, guys. While you gotta study vibrational theory and aero-elasticity. So, guys, as I told you, what was the degree of freedom? So, guys, what is meant by frequency, as I've already, told you, and as I've told you, guys, is that frequency is basically the time of is basically the degree of so-called regularization, or the factor of being often, guys, which basically means that how often that so-called particle, guys, has its displacement, guys, from downwards to upwards position, or rather from the antinode to the node, or, guys, from the equilibrium line, guys, to the node, and then downwards to the antinode. And, guys, these are all the things, guys, which we gotta know, guys, before it. And, guys, in order to deal with vibration, guys, Vibration is basically known as any motion which basically repeats itself in in equal and periodic motions of time, guys, or rather periodic intervals of time. That is what is known as the vibration, guys. So vibration is stated to be as the motion which has got equal intervals, guys, of reaching the peak position and a peak position from the initial position. So guys, the displacement which takes place, guys, between any particles, guys. If you basically want to study the wave of progression, guys, between a string of a guitar and stuff, guys, you might very well will see, guys, that even there, guys, there are the presence of the crests and trough, or rather nodes and antinodes, guys. So guys, that so-called wave motions, or that wave graph, or rather those wave lines which we study, guys, are simply essential enough, guys, for us to in fact understand, guys, as to how that so-called string, or how that so-called particle, or that element, guys, was vibrating, or rather moving back and forth, or to and fro. So guys, that is what is termed as a vibration. And as I told you, guys, the element of regularization, guys, seems to be present, guys, or strict regularity, guys, is always present, guys. And what we gotta study vibrational theory and aero-elasticity, guys. And what it clearly means is, guys, that the displacement, guys, of that so-called wave, or rather of that so-called particle, guys, it takes place in equal intervals of time, guys, and which is why it's termed as periods. So that is what is known as the periodic motion, guys. Anything what is vague is not known as a periodic motion, guys. The thing which has got equal intervals, guys, equal intervals of its movement, guys, is basically tagline to be as the periodic motion. And while we got to study about this periodic motion, what we gotta know is, guys, that the element of equalization, or rather that state of equivalence, guys, which is found, guys, between that so-called displacings, or rather so-called displacement, guys, of that particle, from the initial mean position, guys, to the upward position, or to the final position, or to the peak position, or to the to the node, or rather to the crest. So that is what is basically meant by that. And basically, guys, vibrational theory and aero-elasticity, guys, can be even broken down, guys, into multiple types, guys. Like not the analytics part, because there happen to be multiple types, guys, of the vibration itself, guys. Which seems to be the free vibrations and the forced vibrations. So number one is the free vibrations. Number two is the forced vibrations. Number three is the damped vibrations. Number four is the undamped vibrations. Number five is the torsional vibrations. Number six is the transverse vibrations. Number seven is the longitudinal vibrations. And number eight, guys, is deterministic vibrations. So guys, these were multiple types of vibrations, guys, which we gotta analyze, guys, in order to study and know more, guys, about vibrational theory and aero-elasticity. And guys, obviously, this vibration theory and aero-elasticity, guys, has got multiple applications, guys, in the problems of civil engineering, while even studying the simple harmonic motion, while studying the development of the musical instruments, or rather the percussion instruments, or guys, the instruments used in the music industry. And even while studying, guys, the aerospace motion, guys, the way in which an aircraft moves, or rather the way in which an aircraft travels and stuff, guys, those all things are basically determined by the vibration theory and even aero-elasticity. So guys, that basically seems to be the approach which we in fact have to undergo with, guys, in order to study the vibrational theory and aero-elasticity. So as I've already told you, guys, as to what were the types of vibrations, let us once again revise it. Guys, that was the deterministic vibration, simple vibrations, even the damped vibrations, even the undamped vibrations, even the free vibrations, even the forced vibrations, even the transverse vibrations, even the longitudinal vibrations, and even the torsional vibrations, guys. So these were all the multiple types of vibrations which we got to deal with, guys, in the so-called subject of vibrational theory and aero-elasticity, guys. So basically, that was a so-called succinctly compendious approach, guys, about today, about the theory of aero-elasticity and theory of aero-elasticity, or rather the theory of vibrations, guys. So in order to basically know more about all these things, guys, please to subscribe to our channel, and please to hit that bell icon, guys, in order to receive the exciting updates, guys, about all the infographical and all the technoscientific details, guys, about the engineering world, and even about the MBBS courses in medical science, guys. So this is myself, Master Shintamani, your aspiring gynecologist and your aspiring food blogger. Basically, signing off with you right now, and guys, I'll be back, with great updates, in just a few days, or rather in a few moments, basically. And next time, guys, we gotta study the technical aspects of the theory of aero-elasticity, guys, in the next video. So till then, have a great day and goodbye, and and all the best for your examinations, all BMCians and BMCs grateful. Bye bye.